Some viewers may find this disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi my lives, it's Destin Choice and you're watching Choice TV. Now today, I'm pretty much, just enjoying my light little midnight snack. I got my honey roasted peanuts and I got my vegan bread. And I'm basically making an almond butter and jam sandwich. And long story short, I wanted to come on here and I wanted to address this tweet that I saw.
So a couple of days ago, a woman by the name of $1 Million Nay tweeted this. She said, "Niggas don't know how to mentally support a female. A female will be a nigga psychiatrist, pastor, support system, diary, etc. And a nigga wouldn't even help a bitch who overthink. Say I'm lying." And in response to this viral tweet, a lot of women really condoned it and said, "Men are so weak to me." Then another woman said, "If I see one more, not all men, comment under this post, I'ma scream. They be ready to cut you off just for wanting reassurance, shake my head. And then we'll make fun of your mental health and all, child, just useless." Men are once again proving that they are trash. Smiley face. Men are so gross. Men are disgusting. Men are just so, I fucking hate males. Men are so gross. Men are all trash and men are all scum. I hate men. And go straight to sleep while you're in the middle of venting. Because women are just better human beings in general. Men are terrible when it comes to mental health. They disappear and be like, hit me up when you better. Then one woman wrote a very interesting tweet and she said, "These the type of dudes that claim that they ex was crazy when they're really the ones who made her crazy because they're inconsiderate assholes who don't know how to be in a relationship. Men will hit you with that, damn, that sucks, and call it a day."
Now, some of you guys might read that tweet and say, wow, she said no lies, or wow, she made a lot of sense. Because when that tweet went viral, yes, it went viral, literally over 100,000 likes are on that tweet. A lot of people stood by her and agreed with her, but then it caused a lot of controversy and an uproar, and a lot of people started quoting it, dragging her, and telling her that she was stupid as fuck, and she had no idea what she was talking about. So, to make a long story short, a lot of the opposing side that has something to say basically said this. And mind you, most of the people who had a problem with this tweet were men.
"The last thing a man needs is a female for a therapist. Men aren't supposed to be emotionally attached, more like logical thinkers. That's why most men today are in a fallen state, because they've adopted the identity of their mothers." Okay, then date a woman. First off, y'all don't let us help. Talking about some, "You're thinking about it too much. It's not that deep. I'm fine. Don't ask." Well, don't try to be Captain Save-A Nigga and you wouldn't have to worry about it. Because every time we ask them, they're like, "Okay, I'm fine, don't worry about it." Instead of being a stuck-up bitch, why don't you open up your feelings to us so we truly know what's wrong with you and we can help you out? We aren't mind readers. Then the dragging continued and people said, "Maybe the niggas you know, fuck out of here. Men always being criticized for something, huh? These are the girls to avoid." This tweet caught me off guard. This dude said, "We do help. But in turn, y'all will say, we're not on your side or we don't understand. Just put it in a diary because I'm not kissing your ass to help you." Somebody said, "We usually say, babe, don't spend too much time thinking about what you can't control." And y'all take that as we don't take it seriously or we nonchalant, when in reality, it's the truth.
So you guys can basically see why her tweet started controversy, and you guys can basically see why a lot of people are very upset at this tweet. But I wanted to give my thoughts, and I wanted to speak on the ideology of toxic masculinity and toxic femininity, because people never talk about it. And as much as people love to deny that toxic femininity and toxic masculinity isn't a thing, it is. It's not an opinion, it is a thing. It's a real thing, and people never fucking speak on it, but I'm going to speak on it in this video. Now, first things first, if you guys don't know what toxic femininity or toxic masculinity is, basically, it's the ideology that you're supposed to let your gender define you. A lot of people feel like they should let their gender define them. And by that, people say things along the lines of, men shouldn't have emotion, or men shouldn't be emotional, or real men shouldn't do this, or real men shouldn't do that. It's just like I always see a rapid amount of toxic masculinity all over the fucking internet. It's very, rapidly spread. And a lot of people have literally normalized toxic behavior. There's a lot of things that aren't okay that people have pretty much normalized as a civilization. A good example is Jaden Smith, and a good example is someone like Lucas Abbott. Everybody knows Lucas Abbott loves his crop tops, he paints his nails, and he even wears boots, and he gets scrutiny for it all the time. Lucas Abbott is that dude from Grownish, a lot of you guys might know him, but basically he gets scrutiny for wearing crop tops and wearing boots, and the fact that he paints his nails, and he wears a profuse amount of rings on his fingers, and a lot of people always look at him like, yo, that guy is this, he's this, or real men shouldn't do that, real men shouldn't do this, real men shouldn't do that. And then sometimes what's even scarier is I see a lot of women saying the same thing. I'll see a lot of women say that and say, yeah, real men shouldn't paint their nails. The same goes for Lil Pump. Now, the Shade Room, I've been very critical of the Shade Room, respect the Shade Room, they're very professional, but their comment section is incredibly toxic. Every time the Shade Room posts Lil Pump doing some fuck shit, everybody goes insane. So basically, Lil Pump likes to troll the internet. He likes to paint his nails, and he likes to wear crop tops as a joke to get people in an uproar. And that shit fucking work. Now, every time I read the fucking comments, people just be up in arms. And it's literally 50% men, 50% women. And people be like, they're teaching this to our kids, or we need to strive to make people become real men again, or why can't we get real men in society? But at the same time, I noticed that majority of the women who love to speak on this are the same people who would say society shouldn't be policing women's body with the ideology of abortion. And a lot of people who say, oh, men shouldn't do this are the same people who say, oh, us women should be treated equally. Now, let me elaborate a little bit on toxic masculinity, how it affects men in particular, and then I'm going to come right back to her tweet. Toxic masculinity often is rampant amongst all men. It doesn't matter the background, their upbringing. It doesn't matter what their color is. It affects most men. Because a lot of times when you tell a man, oh, go to therapy. Oh, let's go to marriage counseling. They'll a lot of times look at it like, for what? Why do I got to express myself? You know, I see a rampant amount of women always saying, men are trash, fuck men are this, men are that. And then I always see a lot of women always complaining about the fact that men don't open up and they're not emotional. But then these are the same women who say that they like men to put them in their place. And it's always confusing to me. And a good example is this. I had a homegirl that I went to high school with. Her name was like Tiffany or some shit like that. But basically, I remember she had this boyfriend who was really fucking abusive towards her. One time when I was literally like in the halls, he randomly like walked up to her and he like, cause she was wearing a tight fitted dress. She was basically wearing a tight fitted dress, and if anybody knows anything about when women wear tight fitted dresses, sometimes when you sit down, it could like come up a little bit. So long story short, her boyfriend basically walked by, he like pulled her dress down because he felt like it was too short. And then he basically went off on her because he felt like her outfit was a little bit too revealing. Now, when I asked her, why did you just tolerate that? Why are you acting like this is normal? And she basically said she likes a guy to put her in her place. She wants someone who's dominant and alpha. She doesn't want to be in a relationship with no punk. And I was just like, this is toxic masculinity at its finest. And another form of toxic masculinity is when people use it as a way to justify their terrible actions. For example, I've been in the club numerous times, and I know I don't look like the type. I'm not a club goer. The club gives me anxiety and it makes me fucking cringe. But every time I have been into the club, I've seen a profuse amount of men who feel like it's okay to walk by women. Instead of saying, excuse me, they'll grab them by their waist and like move them out the way. And I've always cringed at that because I'm just like, okay, that's fucking weird and that's really inappropriate. And then and every time, like, for example, like every time I see a spring break video on the internet, I always see a woman being sexually assaulted, her butt being grabbed, her breasts being grabbed. One time I went to a rap concert and some girl legit like kept getting her titty grabbed, and it was just like the most cringiest thing in the world. Now a lot of people try to justify it with, oh, men will be men. Every time you see these videos go viral, people say niggas gonna be niggas, or boys gonna be boys, or men are gonna be men. That's what men do. And it's just like, that's kind of creepy. And then let's talk about the fact that a lot of times you see many it starts at a young age too. Many people, by the time you're in middle school, you see that there's a constant pattern of boys feeling like they can just grab the girl's ass. And a lot of times it's often said like, oh no, if he grabs your butt, that means he likes you. And these kids could be as young as fucking 12, and they'll be like, oh no, if he grabs you like that, then that means he likes you. Or if he's controlling like that, then that means he likes you. So you see what I mean when I say toxic masculinity? It's often used as a way for people to justify their terrible actions. It's basically letting your gender define you. Let's just put it that way. And I don't think people should let things that are a part of them define them. And a good example is this. For example, people allow their blackness to define them. And for me, I just look at it like, look, I know a few black Trump supporters. I know a few. And I don't have a problem with it. Some people think it's problematic, but I'm just like, why should I why should I force them to think with their skin color and not with their, you know, with their moral compass or their ideology or things that they've known from experience? Why don't I just let them base it off of that rather than them thinking with their skin color? Hence why, I don't speak on politics, but hence why Democrats always bring up skin color and reparations, and minorities are always left with shit. But anyways, that's another video that I'm probably not going to make. So basically, that's basically what toxic masculinity is. You guys get a good gist of it. Men feel like they need to cut their nails. Like, oh, if you grow your nails too long, then that means, you know, you want to be a woman. And one thing that I noticed is there's a lot of people who are teaching their sons, parents, listen to this because this is for you. There are a lot of parents who are teaching their children, oh, no. You need to be a man. But people aren't really teaching people how to be men. They're not teaching these boys how to be men. You're teaching them to not be women. Let's put it that way. So let's talk about toxic femininity. And I know a lot of people love to say that it's not real. And I'm sure I'm going to get those comments like, you're ignorant, you're stupid. Toxic femininity is not real. It would only be real if women had the upper hand in society. Some girl tried to get into an argument with me about this. And I literally schooled the fuck out of her ass. And she got real quiet. So toxic femininity, here's a good example. People say women don't have the upper hand in society. In a lot of cases, that is true. But in other cases, yeah, you got to keep the same energy. You got to open your eyes. So, for example, toxic femininity could be things like women using sex as a tool. Because I've seen a profuse amount of videos going viral. I've seen it in movies, TV shows. Shit, I've seen it in fucking friend groups where many women will try to use their sex or their body as a tool or a weapon. Like, you guys ever seen someone say, oh, if you do this or you get this done, or if you go to the grocery store real quick, you know, I'm gonna give you something I'm gonna give you some when you come home. And I'm just like, that's kind of creepy that you would use your body and sex as a tool to manipulate a man, because for me, I'm just like, that's toxic femininity, that's weird, that's disturbing, that's very odd, and I think that's insane that people have normalized behavior like that. You see it in television.
I also want to show you guys this tweet because it's a good example of how a lot of women try to reinforce toxic masculinity. This woman basically tweeted, grown men making OnlyFans, did you at least try selling drugs? When it's just like, so when a woman makes an OnlyFans, she's not shamed for it because she's a woman. But when a man does it, it's, oh, that's weird. Okay.
And then another form of toxic femininity is, I have seen many situations where one of my homegirls literally got into this huge fight with her boyfriend, right? And basically, she was just punching his ass, slapping him, and then everybody would just stand around doing nothing. But the minute he was ready to push her ass back, all of a sudden, people went insane and were just like, you don't do that to no female. And I'm just like, but she just, so you see how I'm coming from here? So many women have even used the fact that they can assault their man or they can assault a guy to their advantage. I have seen so many incidents where people have literally tried to fight men, more particularly women will try to fight men, and then they'll literally swing on a man, hit a man, fight a man, and then in most cases that, you see, most men won't swing on the woman back. That's toxic femininity, where she feels like she's immune to get swung back on because she's a woman. So you see how I'm coming from here? Toxic femininity, toxic masculinity, where you feel like you let your gender define you and you let your gender make your decisions for you and you let your gender excuse your horrible actions. Men use the ideology of, I'm not emotional and I'm not sensitive and I don't speak on my issues because I'm a man, or I can hit a man and want to fight a man because I'm a woman, he can't hit me back, or I can be verbally abusive and call my man a bum or a bitch, and if he calls me one back, all of a sudden he's wrong because he's the man and man shouldn't do that. So that's where I'm coming from here. So we have to keep the same energy. Now let's talk about her tweet. A lot of men obviously were up in arms and were just like, well, maybe it's the men that you choose, or maybe it's the fact that y'all love to generalize all men. Now at first when I read that tweet, I was like, if the shoe doesn't fit, why are you wearing it? But then I had to really elaborate and keep the same energy, and I realized it's not right that most women, especially feminists, because feminist Twitter be up in arms about any little thing a man does. They try to generalize all men to make it seem like all men are trash, or all men are this, or all men care about is my body, or all men care about is sex, or all men care about is, you bringing one portion to the pie, and it's just like, so why are you making yourself so available? Excuse as much. So that's normally like my reaction whenever I see tweets like that where people are going crazy. But then again, these are the same women who will perpetuate the ideology of, well, I want a man who's going to be a protector. Because I've met so many fucking people. I've had homegirls who will literally straight up say that they want a man to be a protector. He has to be there to protect me from danger. He has to be there to push my car when it stops. When it's just like, so why are you mad when he's not opening up to you? Or why are you mad when he dismisses your feelings? Because I've literally been in situations where I've third wheeled with toxic couples, And I've literally been in situations where the girl will go off on the guy and say, "You don't even care why I'm mad," or "Oh my God, you're not even listening." And then the dude would be like, "I'm listening," or "Damn, man, you'll get over it." Like, it's just like, how do you expect him to be a protector and you want someone who's masculine and alpha, but yet get upset when he's not there for you emotionally, and he emotionally doesn't open up to you or speaks his mind to you? People have to understand that patriarchy is a very nasty thing, and it's a huge disease, and a lot of men have pretty much been conditioned to feel like they pretty much have to be a certain way, and that's called thinking with your gender. And I think stuff like that is very toxic, and every time I see stuff like that, it's very disappointing. A good example is this. It happened as early as being a kid. You know, one thing that I noticed is that many women always complain and bitch and moan about how their man isn't emotional or doesn't open up, but yet in the same breath will say they want someone who's tough and masculine and is there to protect them. Like, I'm already the emotional one. I need someone to protect me, hold me in their arms. It's just like, you know what you signed up for. But none of these women ever ask their man, why don't you open up? You expect them to open up, but you never ask them, why don't you open up? Why are you this way? Why are you passive aggressive? Why are you narcissistic? Why do you dismiss my feelings? Why don't you open up? Why aren't you as affectionate when I'm sad or having a bad day? But a good example is this. For example, I remember being like, 7 years old, and this was when the movie Bring It On had like just came out. Like, I remember Bring It On like way back in the day. I love that movie, and well, not the fucking sequel. The sequels are garbage. I like the original version. But basically, I remember watching it, and I remember seeing that there were male cheerleaders, because you guys know you only see male cheerleaders in the movies. Most of us have never seen male cheerleaders in real life because of toxic masculinity. They exist, but you don't see them very frequently. Now, I remember I was watching Bring It On, and the first thing I said was, oh shit, dudes are cheerleaders. And I remember I said this way back in the day. And then my sister was like, what? My sister was like in middle school, high school at the time. And I remember I basically said, damn, that's so cool. I can't wait. When I'm in high school, I'm going to be a cheerleader. That's so cool. And then she gave me the stankest look and was like, what? No, only bitches do that. That's some gay shit. Like, she literally said that to me. And I was just like blown away. But at the same time, people have to realize before men even get an idea of what sex or sexuality is, these things are being fed to them through TV, the media, and old ideologies. You know, I've tried arguing with conservative men before about how toxic masculinity is a real thing, and the first thing they do is dismiss it and act like it's not a real thing. Like, I got into this huge debate with a YouTuber, and long story short, I tried to explain to him, toxic masculinity is a real thing, and maybe that's why you feel like a boy shouldn't wear a crop top. Like, we literally got into a whole argument over the idea that someone like Lucas Sabat or Jaden Smith wants to paint their nails. And he basically tried to tell me, no, men and women should not be doing the same thing because we are men. We're strong. We're supposed to be the breadwinners. We're supposed to be, you know, the woman's supposed to be in the house. And I literally said to him, okay, cool, but let me ask you an honest question. How is it that you feel like women are equal to men and women are entitled to equal pay, but you feel like a man shouldn't do what a woman does? It just doesn't make any sense. You know, it's the same thing with, for example, Lil Pump, Lil Uzi, XXXTentacion. Y'all know they have painted their nails in the past. And people have ostracized them and getting them scrutiny for it and said men don't do that. And then my immediate argument is, why? Because I know where it's rooted from. I know it's rooted in toxic femininity or toxic masculinity. And my main question is always, why? Why don't you feel like a man should be able to paint his nails? Who says that it's for women? Who says that? Who says that? Oh, okay, you don't know who? That's just the way things are to you? So that's where I'm coming from. And then also the colorism argument. No one ever talks about the colorism that men face. It's always what women go through, but no one talks about the negative effects that men go through. For example, I have a cousin who's dark-skinned. I'm not going to say his name because I'm sure he's going to see this video and be like, why are you talking? I'm not going to say his name. But long story short, I have a cousin who's dark-skinned, and people used to grill him because he's like the darkest dark-skinned. And long story short, everybody would always grill him and roast him and say, oh, when you smile, your teeth basically look gold because you're so black. And they even said things to him like, oh, shut your black. They would say like a lot of degrading things. I'm not going to say them out loud, but you guys can have an idea of what they used to say to him. And basically, since we were kids, since we were like 8, 9, 10, 11, up to now that we're grown, he's always thought that he was ugly. He still thinks he's ugly. He still thinks he looks like I'm not going to say the animal, but you guys can see where I'm going here. He thinks he looks like that because people have pretty much teared him down. And guess what? Whenever he would voice these outrages or voice these things to his parents, they would always say, Be a man. Stop being a bitch. Stop being a little girl. Only girls get emotional over stuff like that. And then you guys wonder why a lot of men don't open up or why they're so closed off. Now, for a lot of people who agreed with this tweet, I see where you're coming from when you said that a lot of men won't open up. But at the same time, maybe you should try to decipher the kind of men that you normally go for. You're attracted to the masculine, tough, oh, he can protect me in the ring type of man, but then get upset when it's time for you to be emotional and sad because you had a bad day at work, or you expect him to be emotional and sad because somebody pissed you off on social media, and then when he dismisses it and says, damn, you'll be fine. It's just like their whole life, these boys are being taught to repress their sexuality. They're being taught to repress it to a certain extent, and they're being taught to dehumanize themselves. They're being taught to repress their emotions, and then people turn around. Women like this who are agreeing will turn around and say, oh no, I want a masculine man. If my man paints his nails, then that means he's gay. Or if a man wears a crop top, he's this, he's that. And then I'm just like, but saying that a man is this way if he wears a crop top, or a man is this, or he's that, or he's sus if he paints his nails, that's like me telling a woman, that's like me telling women, oh, you're wearing, because let's be real, 95% of women watching this, you guys have booty shorts in your closet. Don't deny it. You probably don't know when you bought them. Majority of women have booty shorts or short shorts in their closet, right? Because it's a trend. That's like me looking at a woman and saying, why are you wearing booty shorts? Why are you wearing those tiny ass poom poom shorts? You must want to get raped. Or, oh no, you're wearing those little ass booty shorts. You must be craving for attention. When in reality, are all women who wear booty shorts when they leave the house craving for attention? No, they just want to wear their fucking clothes and leave it at that. But when a man wants to wear a crop top, it's, oh, he's sus, or, like, it's just like, it's all rooted in toxic masculinity and toxic femininity. Now, these women always bring up how toxic masculinity is why a lot of, because that was most of the argument in the thread. Toxic masculinity is the reason why a lot of our men won't open up. It's the reason why our husbands won't open up. And I'm just like, but then some of these women perpetuate toxic masculinity as well, and then some of them believe it. Like, you guys have, like, women and men have also internalized these ideologies and these ways of thinking, and then basically get upset when it affects them. When it affects them personally, that's when they're ready to, like, bitch and complain and moan about toxic masculinity. And I'm just like, but where was this energy when, you know, you say things like, a real man shouldn't do this, or a real man shouldn't do this, but I never really hear the real women should do this. It's normally coming from the opposing side. The only time I hear people say real women should do this or real man should do this, it's always coming from opposing sides. But in other cases, it's always coming from the same side. People have the ideology that a man should pay for dinner, or a man should take the tab, or he should take his girl shopping all the time. And I'm just like, and then there's other women who have the ideology of, oh no, if a man takes me out, he should be paying. When in reality, it's just like, why don't you pay for your own fucking food? Why don't you pay for your own meals? Why do you feel like you're entitled? That's another form of toxic femininity. Why do you feel like you're entitled to just sit there and allow a man to pay for you? Because that's what men do. Or, no, you're a man, you should pay. Like, a good example of toxic femininity, how many people use it as leverage, is the simple fact of, for example, let's say a box is mad heavy, right? If a box is very, very heavy, I noticed that for anyone that's worked in an office or anywhere where you have to do heavy lifting knows that normally those jobs are given to men, right? Now, there are situations where there are women who would literally, like, see a heavy box and they say, I don't feel like getting that up. I don't feel like picking that up. And then people wouldn't shame them. People would say, oh, no, it's fine. It's okay. It's okay. But if a man says, I don't feel like picking that box up, then all of a sudden it's, why are you being a bitch? No, pick it up. Be a man. Man up. You're a man. You're supposed to pick it up. But then complain when men don't open up and aren't emotional and don't wear their heart on their sleeves. See, these are conversations that we need to have. We have conversations about race all the time. We have conversations about sexuality all the time on the internet. And people go insane about inclusion for race and inclusion for sexuality, but no one ever really talks about how people are suffering from genderism and how people are suffering from PTSD due to the effects of it. You ever notice from an early age, mothers are teaching their daughters, no, you need to be a young lady, or you can't play sports, or no, I'm not buying that blue shirt for you because it looks like a boy's shirt, or no, you can't play sports, or no, you can't hang out with the boys, or no, you can't play soccer with the boys. Let the boys be boys. You be a girl and play tea parties and stuff like that. See, let me relay back to what I said before. People are teaching their sons how to be not women. You're teaching boys not to be women. and that you're teaching women not to be boys. But no one's really teaching them that positive masculinity and positive femininity is embracing the gender that you feel you were assigned to, embracing the gender that you've been assigned to, embracing the gender that you identify as in general. So you see how I'm coming from here? When it comes to your gender, when it comes to doing things that help you make you feel good about yourself, that's part of positive masculinity and positive femininity. But of course, a lot of people want to hold on to their old ideologies just for the means of having privilege. Just for the means of having privilege, so that way, in order for them to keep their privileges, they have to keep gender roles the way they are. Because I noticed that the feminism movement, the Me Too movement, a lot of it has been hijacked by women who, let's put it this way, as humans, we have been taught to be emotionally empathetic without using fact. When the R. Kelly situation first hit the fan and the whole Surviving R. Kelly documentary came out, people were grilling my ass because I question all the women because it's 2019. It's 2019. At the time, it was like 2019. It's 2019. At the end of the day, if you didn't know R. Kelly was this monster and this evil person, then are you really a victim? Considering that you've seen all these blog posts, but you went chasing for fame and money. So that's just what I said in my video. And people grilled the fuck out of me and said, you're letting your male privilege speak to you. See, these men are not our allies. And another person turned it into a thing like, no, we're supposed to believe women. Stop doing da-da-da-da. And I'm just like, so we're supposed to and it's the same thing for women. Like, women are supposed to automatically feel obligated to stick up for other women just because they're women, or men are automatically supposed to be obligated to believe women just because women are oppressed in society. So see what I mean here? People use these gender privileges and these gender labels and toxic masculinity, toxic femininity to their advantage, but they never really think about the full effects. Stop saying real men don't do this or a man should be like this. Who made up these rules? Don't worry, bitch, I'll wait. Who made up these rules that a woman should not be playing with trucks? Who made up these rules that a woman can't be in the NFL? Because it's not illegal, but there are women who have tried throughout the years to be a part of the NFL, but obviously they've gotten turned down. Hence why the WNBA is something that had to be created, because obviously people don't see women and men as equal. People say, let boys play with the boys, let girls play with the girls. And for example, like I remember I went to high school and there was this girl who basically wanted to be part of the wrestling team. And people tried to shame her and was just like, girl, you ain't no little boy. What you want to play with sweaty ass boys for? And then people try to use the excuse of, well, technically, physically, men are stronger than women. Men are stronger than women. Is that based off of what you see on TV or what you base on the media? Because I'm pretty sure a woman is capable of probably, who knows, doing a ton of other things. Women are capable of doing anything they want to do. And men are capable of doing anything they want to do, but society tells them not to. Hence why there are many men who get really uncomfortable when there's a transgender person in the room or when it's a gay person in the room. They get real uncomfortable because they're scared that ideology might mess with their fragile ego, because they get told that, oh no, you can't be anything like a woman, or you can't possess any of those habits, because if you possess the habits of a woman, then you're less than or you're bad. And they pretty much have demonized anything that has to do with being a woman.
Do that! Men don't do that! Men ain't never did that! Men ain't never pursued for relationships. Men don't fuck men. Men don't put makeup on. Men don't wear dresses. Men don't put that fucking nail polish on their nails. What? Men don't wear chokers. They don't do that. Men don't wear platform boots. Alright? Men don't wear eyeliner, eyelashes. Men don't do none of that shit. You might see a dude rocking some fucking chapstick, cause he might just have over-oxidated lips. Homosexuality is culture-based. There's the shit in the water, the TV shows, the music, and then the lifestyle that forces it and makes it real, and then the spirits come in and make it real. Okay? It's not that you were born a girl in a boy's body. It's just that you probably drank a whole bunch of fucking tap water, watched a whole lot of fucking TV watched a lot of the picture box.
Being emotional, speaking your mind, crying. A lot of these things have been demonized by society, but people don't really want to have those difficult conversations. People just rather wallow in their privilege, because men and women both have privileges. Are women a lot more oppressed than men? Do men have more advantages in the world? Men definitely have way more advantage in the world. That's something that we all can't negate. But we all gotta have serious conversations of, well, men aren't emotional, men don't speak their mind. Okay, cool. Here's a better question. What kind of men are you looking for? Because a good example is this. I've seen a lot of people say, because I remember I asked, okay, a good example is this. When Steve Harvey came out with his book, Think Like a Man, he created this thing called the 90-day rule. It's basically where you don't fuck a nigga, like, or a guy, or whoever you're dating, for 90 days, right? Y'all remember that. That was a big deal. There were a lot of women and there were a lot of men who were up in arms because a lot of women were saying things like, but what if the guy loses interest and he wants to find it somewhere else? And then there were other men who were like, we're men, we need sex, we think about sex all the time. And I'm just like I was looking at all this stuff like when it was all happening, like not all men think like this. And I'm just like, why do all women feel like that they're objects to a man to where they feel like they're entitled to give up sex or their body? Because this makes something very clear to all the women watching this. You don't owe anybody sex. It doesn't matter if you've dated somebody for a year or a couple of months. You don't owe anybody sex. And word of advice, when you deny someone sex, it'll teach you a lot about who they really are. This goes for men and women. When you deny somebody sex, it'll really show you the truth about who they are. It'll show you some really interesting information based off of how they respond or how they react to you not wanting to sleep with them. But anyways, a lot of people are way too stuck in their ways and way too stuck in their ideologies of men should be this way, women should be that way. And I'm just like, well, women have this ideology that men should do one thing and women should do the other thing. Like if a man can't get a mani-pedi, a man can't get a fucking pedicure or some shit, or if a man can't fucking go shopping with his homeboys, or a man can't do this or that, and he can't do all these things without being deemed as a different sexuality. Why should we offer women equal pay if women feel this way? Problematic. You're probably triggered right now. But why should equal pay for genders even be a discussion when there are many women who have internalized and have pretty much kept these ideologies in their heads? One minute you want to be equal, the next minute you turn into a conversation of, well, I want a masculine man to do that, or a man should be this way, or a man should be that way. It's just like, it's fine to have a preference, it's definitely fine. But a lot of the times, you get what you signed up for. You get what you get and you don't get upset. Be careful what you wish for because you might get it. There are a lot of women who will straight up sit up here and say things like they want a protector, they want a provider. And in my personal opinion, a lot of those things where women say they want a protector and a provider, or they want someone to put them in their place and they want alphaness in their life and they want a man who's going to be strong and tough and check them. A lot of those ideologies that a lot of women possess are normally stem from daddy issues. Yes, I said it, daddy issues. If you feel as though that you need a man to protect you and be there for you and clothe you, or, for example, my mom was this way. My mom is a very miserable fucking woman because she has put way too many men ahead of her kids, hence why, hell, shit, most of us are very fucked up in different ways. My mother has pretty much put men before her children, and there were times where, for example, like when her and my dad would be separated for years and shit, she'd feel like she needs to hurry up and quickly go find a new man. Like, okay, I need a new man. I need a man in the house. Or, no, I'm living in this neighborhood. No, I need a man. I need a man in this house. We need a man in this house. But I'm just like, but you could easily get a fucking gun license just in case any shit pops off. Or you could easily just, hell, I don't fucking know, put all of us in jiu-jitsu class or some shit. Why do you feel like you need a man to validate yourself or validate your safety? I had a homegirl one time who's a YouTuber, who I'm not going to say her fucking name. She told me basically that if she looks for a guy, he needs to be protected. He has to be able to protect her. Lord and behold, she had daddy issues. She basically felt like just because she didn't have that father figure to teach her what she needed in her life, she felt like she needs to find that in a man. And then I noticed this in a lot of situations where many women will start to raise a lot of these men. Like, these men will be a protector. He'll be strong. He'd be great for some dick and some bubble gum. But guess what? You're raising him. You're reminding him of all the most simplest, dumbest shit. Or not only that, you're doing things along the lines of, you feel like you need to provide him with a home-cooked meal every time you come from work. Or you feel like you need to do this or do that, or go out of your way to do this, or go out of your way to do your makeup and your hair just to impress him, just to keep him. You feel like you do all this extra shit just to keep him. And then you have all these men who are feeling like they need to be father figures to their girlfriends, where they're taking them shopping, they're putting them in check, or no, you can't wear that, or no, that's too much makeup, or no, you should do this, or no, you should do that, or I'm gonna take you to work every day. Like, it's just like, in relationships, I see that there's too many people looking for a father or a mother figure, and a lot of times it's always the opposite sex. You got the boys who are looking for a mother figure, and you got the girls who are looking for a father figure, when in reality, couples shouldn't be raising each other. You guys aren't projects to each other. You guys should never be projects to each other. You should be able to think as an individual and with individualism. So this is what I mean when I say toxic femininity is ruining things, and toxic masculinity is making things even worse. Because not only is toxic masculinity negatively affecting men, and where they feel like, you literally have men who think it's fucking gay to have a skincare routine. Like I ain't got no skincare routine. I just wash my face and put on some shea butter and some coconut oil. I ain't got no fucking skincare routine. And I'm just like, oh, fucking God. Like, this toxic masculinity is annoying. And then, for example, I remember when I was in high school, I told somebody, oh, I'm a big fan of Vampire Diaries. And I'm still a big fan of Vampire Diaries to this day. I've watched every fucking season 4 times. I don't give a fuck about y'all toxic masculinity. But basically, some dude behind me when I was in high school, this is when Vampire Diaries was popping and when it was on air many years ago. And he basically said to me, oh no, only girls watch Vampire Diaries. You're a girl now? Like, it's just like, I wasn't fazed by the toxic masculinity because I was just like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I'll watch that shit all fucking day. And then it's just like, stuff like that is so rampant amongst young people, and it's pretty scary how young I was and how young we were when that person said that to me, because it's just like, you're more than just your gender. Just like how I love to say this to people, I don't think I say this often, but you're more than just your skin color, so act like it. You're more than just your gender, so act like it. Just like Aaliyah said, more than I want, more than I want, more than I want, more than I want. More than a woman, more than a man, think like an individual and not with your gender or your race or the color of your skin. Think like an individual and think for yourself, and stop letting your gender, rather you're a woman, stop thinking with the fact, oh, I'm a woman, I have to be this way, or I'm a woman, I have to do this, or I have to do the most, oh, I have to dress like this in order so these dudes can buy me a drink, or I'm a man, I have to be tough and masculine, I have to be aggressive and take the initiative, I have to approach her first, because that's what men do. So, this tweet, it's fucking problematic. It's problematic because people are quick to say, oh, men are trash, fuck man, men are this, men are that, but I never see accountability on the other side. I'll see men say, women are this, or all women care about is money and having kids, and all women care about is this, but they never take accountability on the other side. It's always one side trying to attack the other side, and one side never takes accountability. We're not really getting the root of the issue here. We're not talking about the toxicness of feeling like you are your gender. Your gender is a part of you. You're not your gender. So when I see this tweet, and when I see women co-signing this, and when I see grown men trying to justify it with, oh, we men. Since we're men, we gotta, no, we can't be emotional. Now we gotta be that other strong support system. It's just like, well, damn. Now I know why a lot of y'all are going through situations where y'all are in unhappy, toxic relationships. It makes a lot of perfect fucking sense. Because y'all feel like you have to be a certain way because society told you so. And see, this is why I'm hip to the bullshit. And people always ask me, how do I think this way? Why am I so open-minded? And how do I know all this stuff? I read a lot. And one thing that I love to do with all my friends and people that I know personally and other YouTubers that I know personally, I love to recommend books. So here are a few books that I would love to recommend for men and women to read.
Now, for starters, I want to recommend this book for all women who have trouble getting through to their man or have trouble in general finding a stable man. Read this book. It's called The Power of the Pussy, and trust me, the title's pretty insane, but it's really, really more in depth than you would think. So please don't judge the book by its cover, and definitely check this book out. It's open-minding, and it'll really teach you a lot about the things that you don't realize about yourself and things you don't realize about the other men that you're pursuing as a woman in general. And I think men should even consider listening to the audiobook because, hell, it'll even teach you about yourself or how women view things in general. Grown men, straight men, gay men, whatever you are, please read this book. It's called Boys Will Be Boys. Girls, women, give this to your boyfriend. They need it. This book in particular really goes into depth how this patriarchy of, men are greater started, and it also teaches, relatable things that men in society as a whole go through, but no one talks about. It also talks about the fact that men repress their mental health, and it ruins their lives and their future relationships because of their toxic masculinity. This book, You Just Don't Understand, is for grown men who have a hard time understanding their women, their girlfriends, their wives, or whatever, their soulmates. Read this. And I especially recommend women out there who have boyfriends or guys that they're talking to who like to read. I hope, the man that you're with likes to read. Hand him this book, buy it for him on Amazon, tell him to download the audiobook, buy it for him, make him read it, and it'll really show him a lot of things that he didn't realize about himself and why he's not as affectionate when it comes to emotions and showing emotion. I also recommend this book. It's more of an autobiography, but it really goes into depth on how a lot of men of color who dedicate their lives to, fate, it really puts into perspective why they believe in patriarchal views and don't know how to think for themselves. Then for those y'all who still don't get what I'm trying to go with this video, read this book. It's called Dissolving Toxic Masculinity. If you're a guy, listen, stop what you're doing. Go buy this book right now. This is like my #1 recommendation. And for women who are having a hard time understanding, where I'm going as far as like toxic masculinity, it's time to read this book. It'll really, really decipher and go into depth on why all the men in your life are a certain way and why you're going for each particular man. It'll even teach you a lot about who your father probably is, what kind of person he is.
And there's no excuse because every single one of these books have audios. So you can go on the Books app. If you have an iPhone, you can go on the Books app that looks like this. Y'all all have one that came with your iPhone. Go on the Books app. Remember, reading is fundamental. Download the book, buy it. Rather, it's $8 to $16. Do your research. Learn that you're more than just your gender, and learn that society is implementing into people that you should be a certain way. There's a gay agenda, or there's a feminization agenda where they're trying to normalize men wearing nail polish, or at one point it was deemed inappropriate and too feminine when Tupac had a nose ring. But now it's pretty much normalized. And then let's talk about the fact that at one point it was considered terrible for women to wear jeans, pants. At one point, women could only wear things like skirts or dresses, right? But guess what? People have since fought and have realized that what they wear does not define them. So now women can wear whatever the fuck they want, right? So why is it that we don't ever say this with men? Why don't we tell men, you could be who you are and wear what the fuck you want. Your clothes don't define you. So when I see people like Jaden Smith, when I see people like Dwayne Wade's daughter, Zaya, and when I see people like Lucas Abbott, when I see people like Frank Ocean, Little Uzi, XXXTentacion, Little Pump doing all this stuff, I'm just like, hey, that's them being who they are, and that's them expressing themselves. Their clothes don't define them. That's just them expressing themselves. So why do we feel like we need to hold on to these old 5,000-year ideologies when in reality the real battle that we should be fighting here is the rich versus the fucking poor, because they're the ones who created these laws. So yeah, I hope everyone gained something from this fucking video, and I'm sure many people didn't, because these are difficult conversations that people don't want to have, and I'm pretty sure people are going to try to turn it into a whole, you just contradicted yourself. Listen. Toxic femininity, toxic masculinity is a real fucking issue, and everyone needs to Google it. And I'm tired of the whole anti-men, or men are trash, men are this, God, I hate men, all men are the same, oh my God, men don't open up, men are this. Well, open your eyes and look at society. How about you open your mouth, instead of complaining about the fact that your man is not, he's dismissing your issues and he's acting like, oh, you're crazy. Instead of turning it into a whole, he doesn't even care, he seems so nonchalant. Why don't you ask him, why isn't he showing enough emotion? Oh wait, I get it. You're not going to ask him that because you look at him as a man and you look at it as he shouldn't have to explain to you because men are just men. And then when I see men complain about women and say, oh, women, they wear their revealing clothes, but they don't want us to touch them or pay them any mind, or they pay hard to get. It's just like, But I don't you ever try to decipher the issue on why people feel like they have to be a certain way. So, yeah, I have a very open-minded perspective on this. And I definitely see where that tweet is coming from. It's subjective. There's a nuance to it. And there's different ways to look at it. It's not just... like, cause it's like I was disgusted just reading the replies because it was men saying, "Oh, shut up, y'all so stupid," or maybe you're just terrible at picking a partner. And then I saw a woman say, "No, y'all are just trash," and it's just like, so why don't we get to the root of these issues? So, like I always say, be the change that you want to see. Stop thinking with your gender. Check out those books I recommended, and maybe you'll learn something. You'll be surprised. Me reading a lot is the reason why I have all these resources and why I have this wide-eyed mentality and this wide-minded mentality to where I share it with people, because people don't realize that these are things that you're being taught. And it's time to break out of the system. And it's time to stop with this whole ideology of men should be men, women should be women. Because if you have that ideology, men and women should not be getting paid the same wages. How about that? Hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's very late at night. If you guys want to know what this is, I basically use CBD oil before I go to sleep. Every night before I go to sleep, I put CBD oil under my tongue. Let it sit there for like 15 to 30 seconds. After it sits there for like 15 seconds, I basically swallow it, and then it pretty much relaxes me, and it even makes me like go to sleep. Like if I'm having trouble sleeping, I just take this. It's all natural. It's a little pricey, but it's really amazing. It's called Harmony Drops. I've damn near used the entire fucking bottle. That's how little and minimized it is. And I feel good because sometimes I have really bad anxiety because of this whole quarantine stuff, and I have trouble focusing because there's a lot of things that's fucking with everybody. And in the midst of all this, instead of scrolling through Twitter and instead of being upset and, you know, using social media to close your anxiety, get some CBD drops. That's what I've been using. And I've also been drinking this THC detox tea. There's a whole bunch in here. You can get you a nice little bag of these for like $35. Link in my description down below if you guys are interested. There's a various amount of CBD oils you can get. They even have hand sanitizers. Link in the description down below. Check them out. And yeah, I didn't really get a chance to fucking eat, so I'm gonna take this shit to bed. And yeah, that's that. Choice out this bitch.
Out there, I shine right near my honey, really Cupid. It's on me, my heart is trying to